Hi, in this presentation, I want to talk to you about model making. So these are the basic tools that you'll be using for making your models. Your architecture scale, a steel ruler, a couple of knife, pencils. I personally use this wood glue, but you can also use Elmer's glue, any kind of water-based glue or Gorilla Glue is also useful. Uh, your triangles, a cutting board, sandpaper, or maybe this sand block that is also very handy. In case of using some kind of balsa wood, I recommend you to get one of these razor blades with a miter, which is very useful. I think we have miters here at the shop. You can also check there. At the Digifab shop, we have several types of boards, from white chipboard, balsa wood, corrugated cardboard in 2 dimensions, chipboard also in 2 dimensions, and then this poster board. We don't have that at the Digifab, but it's very easy to find these at any Walmart or Staples. It's a very handy material, very light, and it has a nice finishing. We do have lots of different types of balsa wood at the Digifab shop, and dowels, wood dowels, which are also very handy in case you're making something as a column, rounded columns. So please go and check what kind of materials are gonna fit your project. Check the dimensions on the scales that we are working, which is 1/8 equals a foot. The Digifab shop also offers some free stuff downstairs in the basement, or you can also go on the 4th floor next to the laser cutters. There is also leftover materials from other students, which can be very helpful. Not only paperboard, but also cardboard or sometimes wood. So go and check it out, and maybe you'll find some material that still can be recycled. Okay, so what do you need to start making your model? So the most important thing you need for start making your models are your floor plans and sections on scale, printed. Uh, the drawings can be hand draw, or can be made on AutoCAD. It doesn't matter. You need the side plan and you need the floor plan and sections. You are gonna get all the templates you need from these 2 drawings. Before start cutting any material, you need to plan ahead and start, let's say, synthesizing the different components that you're gonna need for making your model. So this is a quick section of this project designed by Mies van der Rohe. This is a house, a very known house in Illinois. So you can see here that the house is very simple, and the section shows that the house is made of a slab on the floor, and then a slab on the roof, and a few columns, some glass walls. So this sketch, it's to get the key dimensions of the house, of this project. So here I'm analyzing, I'm thinking, okay, I need to have a thick board to represent the floor, a thick board to represent the roof, and a few vertical elements for the columns. And then we're going to talk about the windows. And you need to have all the dimensions. So this is part of you can get this from your section, but you can also make a few sketches to kind of plan ahead and start simplifying the shape of the building. So here you see that there is an I-beam here on the end of the floor, but in this case I'm not detailing that. I'm making the floor is going to be one single board. Same thing with the roof. So when I'm saying simplifying, this is what I mean. Start abstracting things and making them simpler so you can represent it in a model. Another thing that I recommend you to do is to make a survey of all the materials that you need to start making your model. So this is a survey, or let's say these are templates for each one of the elements of that house. The one on the left is it's probably the floor, and the one on the right is, oh no, these are templates for the floors, and how many of these templates I need. The one on the left is for the floor and for the roof. I need 2 of these templates, and the one on the right is the floor for the terrace, which I need 1. And I also have detailed here the thickness on real scale. Then we're cutting these templates, and we need to organize the work in such a way that we have all the components of the house organized. This is the platform, the floor, and the roof. Something that is very useful to guide your work is to score a grid on the chipboard. In this case, I'm using chipboard for making the model. The grid is also a very important component on the project, but you can make the grid using a pencil, or in this case, I chose to do a scoring. Always check the thickness of the material. So the thickness of the roof and the floor, it's around a foot. So in this case, if I put 2 plies of 1/16 chipboard together, I get something that is a little bit thicker than a foot, but still it's very close to the dimensions that I need, so it is acceptable. So this is what I use. When you have elements that are repeated several times in your model, so you can, instead of cutting them one by one separately, you can make a jig or a template for cutting these serial elements. In this case, all the columns in this project are the same. So I prepare a jig to cut these columns from one single material. This makes the work faster and also more precise. An issue that appears is in this project is how to glue the glass, or how to join the glass to the floor. So in this case, for the glass, I use an acetate sheet, which is very easy to find. I don't think we have that at the Digifab, but you can also always find it in other shops. So what I did for gluing the acetate to the floor, I added a groove, which is this very thin piece of chipboard here on the edge of the floor that is a little bit separated from the edge of the floor. So the sketch here shows how this is gonna be glued to the groove. So this is the acetate, the groove, and this is the floor. On the right you can see how this it's glued to that. Be careful with excess of glue. You always need to be cleaning. Other ways it's gonna be stained, and the model is not gonna look good. So here I'm showing you on purpose like all the mistakes that I've made while making this model. You can see here a lot of glue that looks pretty bad on the model. So it is very important that you work with patience, that you plan ahead, that you measure twice before cutting something, and when you're gluing materials, you do it very slowly and with care. You can always use a small spatula for removing the glue excess. Here I am highlighting a few mistakes. So you see here, this is stain from the glue, excess glue that dry, and then when it's dried, it's really difficult to remove. So you need to work careful and quickly and clean everything when it's still when it's not dry. Then issues here on the right at the top with cutting the board. You can see that in this but the knife probably I didn't make a good and consistent pressure on the knife when I was cutting this board, so you can see here the problem that arises. This is how the model look at the end. It's a very simple model. I use one single material, which is chipboard, and I layer the chipboard whenever I needed a thicker material. And then the second material that I use is acetate. So problems that I found here, you can see that is the floor is sagging, so it's not horizontal, and that's not really nice. So the way to avoid that is when the chipboard is drying, when you put, let's say in this case I use 2 layers of chipboard with glue in the middle, and I didn't I didn't put enough pressure on top of that while drying. So, and that's why the material is sagging. Trees. Uh, this is my recommendation for trees. Go outside and get a few of these. But many of you also have like very nice trees made with other materials. Some of you use dowels or paper. So this is up to you how do you want to make it. But I think for this model at 1/8 equals a foot, getting some of these it looks great. How you put them? Well, you make a hole on the side on the board, and then you glue it there. So it's quite simple, and this is how that model looks at the end with all those mistakes that I show you here: the glue, the cutting, the edges, and so on. But still, I think is well, your final model needs to be of course much better than this. So this is why it's so important to work carefully. The model always allow you to document the project from different angles, using light, and taking advantage of all the shades and lights that you can create with the model. Okay, so the previous model was using more flat components, right? Layer chipboard, but many of you will be using linear components as well for building the tower, or maybe for making parts of the building itself. And in this case we're talking about very thin material, very slender materials. You will probably use balsa wood or wood dowels. These are some examples of how this kind of models look like. So the color, it combines very well with chipboard and cardboard, so I highly recommend you to use balsa wood. But for using balsa wood, it's really important that you get that razor blade and miter, so you can make precision cuts. This image is from an architecture studio that I always follow, and they have really nice projects and models. So this is a 1/8 equals a foot model. You can see here the level of detail. I don't like the way the side is built. We are gonna use corrugated cardboard for making the contour lines and the side itself. But you can use the wood dowels for representing the trees, and we are gonna use either chipboard or cardboard for making the walls, roof, and other components. Okay, I hope this presentation is helpful. Please let me know tomorrow during class if you have questions about this. Thank you.